I'm gonna get the chat window up. See if somebody else joins us. Okie dokie. I don't like. Let's try that. So 3 of you are here so far. How are we doing?
Cold.
Good?
Cold.
Cold? What? It's not like there's snow outside or anything.
Yesterday was terrible.
I mean, last week was really warm.
60 degrees.
It was what?
It was 60 degrees at one point.
That's crazy.
You don't like the weather, just wait.
Yes, exactly.
In Illinois, it'll be like back up to nice, like in a couple days.
Yeah.
Then it'll drop down to miserable.
Uh-huh. So, my popular question is, what do you guys want to do today? I have a whole bunch of things I want to do today. What do you guys want to accomplish?
I want to accomplish what you want to accomplish.
What was that?
I want to accomplish whatever you want to accomplish.
Awesome, I love it. But it's still important to me that you guys think about what you want. Your voice and your thoughts still matter to me. Stretch.
Yes. Well, it looks like we need to cover this analyze command here.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, we are going to cover it. We are definitely going to cover it. Well, how about this? I'll get started, and if there's something that comes up you think you might want to do a little bit differently, let me know. So there's only 3 of you in the room right now, and there might be 2 people joining us online. Maybe we'll see. I don't know. I don't know if the speaker is on for them or not. Let me see. Where does the speaker thingy go? Hide it over here. So the volume's
Oh,
up.
we got a 4.
Hey, Harvest. Turn this sound on.
I can check.
If they join us, we should be able to hear them.
I guess somebody's smart.
What?
Somebody's smart. I've been considering wearing medical masks to public places recently too.
Considering it, but not enough to actually do it.
I haven't bought them yet, but might be too late at this point.
Maybe most of them are out of stock. Online. Amazon Navy.
So we'll get started. My theme for today is I have this query, and we're going to look at a query. It looks kind of mean and nasty up front, and I did it on purpose. I wanted it to look mean and nasty because we're going to break it down a little bit and figure out what the important parts are. So by the end of today, what I want to have accomplished is that we're going to make this query run faster. There's actually about three different things we can do to make it run faster, but most important is adding the index. That's what the class is about for today. Adding indexes. And we're going to use the analyze command to see how it performs. That's kind of my main objective. But I do want to show you homework 4, which I posted today. We'll make sure it's clear. I don't have a good way of looking at homework 4. I don't like the way the administrator views it. I have to edit the folder. You guys can look at it much better than I can. We'll scroll that down. Yes.
Content.
Yes.
The left side, there's only table of contents, pre-class homework, calendar, and homework 1.
Yes.
So to view it, you have to just go to upcoming events and just look at the homework. Or Dropbox. Dropbox too. That can also work.
Yeah. But I haven't put anything in the content for homework 4 or 3 or 2.
Just when you can.
Do you see anything for homework 4 in the content?
No, there's no homework 4.
Right.
Homework 1.
Right. So I haven't put. So the way Cobra works is really weird. And if I have to put something in content, I basically have to copy everything out of what I put in the Dropbox and put it in content. And if I make a change, I have to change it in both places. there's no way to link it so they're both the same thing. I wasn't sure if anybody thought the content stuff was useful or not. So if you find it useful, I can definitely put it in there.
Yes, please.
Okay, there we go. I can put stuff in the content. Right now, it's not in the content, so we'll look at it in the Dropbox. But I'm making a mental note to put it in the content and get those uploaded there. So our homework 4 says, whatever we don't finish in class today, that becomes homework number of task 1. That makes it pretty easy. Task 2, I'm giving you 2 queries. I want you to make them faster by doing different stuff to them. That doesn't scroll very well. Down. So here's our first query. Again, it looks a little bit nasty. There's a lot of stuff going on here. I didn't preserve my white spaces. I had an indentation here to make it look a little bit nicer. I didn't preserve it.
Is that normally what they would look like if you were making something at work?
Well, the white space doesn't matter for whether.
No, I mean, like how complex it is.
I don't usually write SQL for work. I fix SQL. So other people write it, and I come along and say, no, that's okay, this is good, and make it run better.
Wait, so you're like a private contractor? Or?
No, it's just a lot of people write bad SQL. And we don't like bad SQL. We like to have good SQL. So
Are you just like the higher up SQL person at a company then?
no, so I work at the university. Most stuff we get at third party. We buy it from vendors. There's a little bit that we write in house, and even with that, clean up a little bit.
But the vendor stuff isn't great.
It's not that great at all.
So you make it better.
I try. Yes, there's a lot. Now there's only one of me, so I do what I can. So this is not something I would write per se, but for this class, yes, this is what I wrote for the class. If we have time at the end of class, we'll talk a little bit about what this query is doing. You don't need to worry too much about what it actually does, and if you want to, that's great. But what I really want you to do, use the analyze command. So you put like analyze in front of it, and we'll take a look at what the analyze command and the output looks like. We'll discuss that today. And it's going to tell you that our rows is 690,000, which is a really big number. I want you to pretend that a row, a single individual row is like $1. This is how much it costs you. So would you rather pay $690,000? Or would you rather spend, oh, come on, it didn't scroll down again. $2,000. I just want to give you a sense. We're going to tune this query. The original R rows, remember rows are processed within the query. 690,000. We're going to take it down to 2,000. That's a savings of, do some quick math, 300 times. Is that about right? So our indexes are going to help us accomplish that. Query 2 is a lot smaller, a lot simpler looking, but it's got something devious hidden inside of it. I'm sorry?
30 instead of 300.
I'm sorry to get it.
30 less. 30 times less. Instead of 300.
600,000, 30, okay, 30. It was somewhere around there. It's 30, 300, somewhere. I wasn't too worried about that. It's just a big difference. That's the important part. Yep. So for this query, let's start from blah, 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 blah. It doesn't go too much farther over to the right, and the scroll bar kind of goes over just a little bit. There's not too much more to the query. It's kind of a small, short query. Well, we're going to go from 344,000 down to 233 for that one. That's the goal. So again, when I say the target our goal, this is kind of like what I want you to aim for. When you're putting on indexes, you're running the analyze command, you want to know if you've gotten there. Are you done yet? Well, the target tells you what to aim for.
I'm glad you gave us a target.
I'm sorry?
I'm glad you gave us a target, because otherwise I would have thought 2 times as
Right, exactly. Like, am I supposed to get down to 1? Am I supposed to get down to 50,000? Well, what am I aiming for? So I got the target when I threw some indexes on it and I did some tuning on it. I thought these would be reasonable numbers when I did.
That's a lot of performance.
Yes, it's huge. So again, I'm just going to emphasize that for 344,000 rows, it's a big number, but the computer does it really, really fast.
Yeah, so
It might take a second. So from a human point of view, we don't notice the difference between 344,000 and
Right, but
233.
if you're running 500 of those queries a day.
Exactly, yes. So that's why I want you to think of these as dollars. So it hits you where it counts more, they're dollars. So that's basically homework 4, that's it. This last one, you don't do any indexes, you don't do any analyze, you have to think, why do we have to change the query? I want you to change the query just a little bit, you just make a small change to it. You have to think about what it is. And I give you some hints, spoilers down below that kind of guide you along the way. And if you just can't get it yet, well, then ask a question in discussion group before Thursday, and that probably, I think that would help a little bit. Questions on homework 4. I do say what I expect you to turn in. So if there's a question of what you have to do to turn in, I hopefully I spelled it out. I will see. Questions on homework 4, or are we ready to dive in for homework for today's class? Okay, so I sent out this email a couple of days ago, and I posted the email here in the news. Did anybody go to the discussion group and look at the query for today yet? That's a little, the indentation's a little bit better. We'll make it, I don't know if I can fit it all on the screen. The spacing's kind of killing me. We'll try this. Let's see if we can make the spacing look a little bit better. A little bit better. Maybe take a look at this query yet. No. Okay, no problem. So again, there's a lot of things going on. What I want you to first notice is that we've got the select way on the outside, and then we do a from, and then there's a select inside the from. That means it's a subquery. We're doing a select from another select. And yet we have yet another subquery. So there's 2 subqueries. I'm sorry? I see 1 select, 2 select, 3 select.
Oh, 2 subqueries.
I see 3 select segments.
2 subqueries. But
2 subqueries, 2 select segments.
why do you do that?
Why? That's a good question. We're not going to answer the why question too much. It's a good question, but it's kind of outside the scope of what I want to do, and I don't know if we have time to answer the why question. If you want to, you can ask the why question in the discussion group, and I can answer it there.
Okay.
And if we have time, I'll get to it. And that's a great question. Good question. I want to focus on this other stuff first. So what's going to happen is that you try to resolve what happened in the most nested, the furthest nested, the most youngest, I don't know how you want to say it, the innermost subquery, because everything, all the data will come out of this query first. So basically, all this stuff is doing is just a bunch of math. These are analytic functions. So we're going to cover analytic functions in a week or 2, I think. And analytic functions are basically aggregate functions to do it over a window. Over W. So W is the name of this window as an alias. I'm defining a window frame, and it tells me how to wrap this view of data. Yes? We're going to get to that in a couple weeks. This is like my sneaky way of putting this in your subconscious. Like, what is the window? Now you're asking that question, and we're all set for a couple weeks from now. Thank you. I'll pay you later. But my point is, all this stuff is fancy filigree right now. We don't have to worry about what it does. We're going to make this query go fast. And it might seem a little counterintuitive, and I'll get to that. So the innermost query. Right now, let's just focus on a small part of it. I think we can focus on that part right now.
Yeah, the left parentheses.
I'm sorry?
Open parentheses.
So this parentheses, I believe,
You're missing one?
goes to this parentheses, right?
No, the from should have a. Yep.
I don't see any other parentheses here.
It should sub 1. That parentheses should be connected to the from parentheses.
I think what happened is the spacing is messed up. I think this sub one's probably supposed to be over here. Because this parentheses matches this one, doesn't it? I believe it does.
Yeah.
What is corrected?
Yeah, no, it doesn't need another because it's selecting from US videos and not selecting from other stuff.
So that way it matches up a little bit better.
Oh, I see. The after from, it's only next.
Yeah, we've got a from, open parentheses, there's nothing else up here, and that's going to come to select. So between this parentheses and that parentheses, we have a subquery, and I gave it a name of sub one. It's just an alias. I've got my innermost query. We're doing a select from several different things from US videos. Let's just run that then. I'm just going to copy it. How many are we going to get?
What is corrected?
What is what?
Corrected?
So corrected is the name.
What's the name of
subquery.
it? Okay.
Every time you
just
have a-
like someone, right?
Yes, exactly. Every time you have a subquery, you have to give it a name in MySQL. And that's just a convention that MySQL uses. MariaDB is the same thing. Yeah. I'm gonna take a look at that. And you guys, I can do a lot of show and tell up here. I think you can learn more by doing stuff hands-on, doing stuff on your own. So I'm gonna let you figure out how you want this class to go, how much you want to engage and interact. If you want me to keep on talking and talking and talking and showing you what's going on, I can. I think you might learn better if you actually do some of the stuff on your own, but I don't want to force you. I'm going to open up Heidi. Hopefully. I'm sorry, say again.
Yes. It doesn't save anything. When you restart the computer, it clears everything. I think it clears them every night, but also where you just, yeah. Wait, don't you have an account yet? Oh, do people have accounts?
I got an email saying, sending me an account.
Yeah, you know how to use the terminal, right? Yeah, there's nothing wrong with using a mouse. Not at all.
He's a good guy to ask about the desktop stuff. I heard you guys talk about terminal. I think Mitchell Benson set you guys, everybody up with an SSH account.
Yeah, how are we going to use this?
How are you going to use what?
The login and password. What is the server name?
How if I make a how-to document and post that later?
Yes.
For right now, go with what you're familiar with. So I'm going to use Heidi. I think most people are using like a Heidi or PHP or something like that. So I ran this query and it looks like I got 40,000, might be hard to see. I got 40,949 rows returned when I ran this query. And it says it ran, well, it also says here 40,949, ran it in 0.016 seconds, which is pretty fast. I mean, 40,000 rows. So somehow we're going to make this query faster. So it's going to, we're not going to improve on time too much, but we will improve on how much I/O does behind the scenes.
Is there a way you can 10 times in a row?
Run the query.
10 times in a row just to see how long it'll take. Like,
Can, but
automate it to do it 10 times in a row just to like
can.
get a time difference if you want them.
Yes. That time difference isn't going to tell you too much, though. What are you going to get out of that? It's just the variation time that it runs over 10 times.
Well, I guess just because you said there's not much of a difference in time, but if you make it take longer, there'll be more of a difference in time.
Well, from a human point of view, we're not seeing much of a difference in time. From a computer point of view, 0.01 seconds is kind of a long time. So if we could stretch out these seconds and turn them into like dollars, you know, computer dollars, they make a big difference.
Well, how low does it count to?
How is
What's
what?
the smallest decimal place they can count to?
I don't know the answer off the top of my head. But what we are going to see, instead of time, we're going to see rows, the number of I/O rows that it does, which is very granular, very specific. So I'm going to put the analyze command in front of this guy. And you asked about getting to know the analyze command. Well, I hope that you do this also. I want you all to practice it. So all I do is type in analyze in front of the select. That's all I'm doing.
Did you copy this code from the document you showed earlier?
Is it what?
I mean, did you copy this just from the document you showed earlier?
It's in the discussion.
Yeah, so in the discussion groups, I took a small part of that out. In fact, what I can do, you gave me an idea though. I could go paste a small thing I'm working on in this document.
Okay.
And so that would be there if you want to look at that. And if someone wants to clean it up and make it look nicer too, that's cool. But for right now, I'm not going to worry about how it looks. So the analyze command, I'm going to run that. So my output has changed significantly. Instead of seeing all the rows in my select query, now I'm seeing one row. I've got some other columns now. I got a select type, possible keys, rows, R rows, a lot of other stuff here that we haven't necessarily seen before. The important part here, oh, I've already got an index on it. Don't, you gotta take it off. R rows, 40,949 R rows. So if I want to make this query run better, my job would be to get this R row number down.
Why is it
Okay, good question. So we have rows, we have R rows. This first row is the estimate. The second row is the real rows. So based on statistics gathered internally by the database itself, it thinks it's going to be about 39,000 rows. And in this case, it wasn't too far off.
Who did the estimation?
I'm sorry, what?
Why is doing the estimation?
Okay, another good question. I might have to go a little bit deeper for this one though. What's happening behind the scenes? What's happening behind the scenes is that there's something called an optimizer. Whenever you write and execute a SQL query, the optimizer comes and figures out what it thinks the best way to get the data back to you. And the optimizer does that by figuring out how many rows are in a table, what's a histogram of the columns look like, and how much data is actually being returned. The optimizer has several different things it can use. It can use indexes if they exist. It can use different join methods if you have different join tables. We have a very simple query on one table, so there's no joining going on with other tables. We have an index, but it's for a different thing I was working on, so it's not going to affect this one too much. So the optimizer considered all these different ways to get the data and give it back to the user. To answer your question, the statistics tells the optimizer which path is the best. So it can't, think of a busy database, Amazon or Facebook or something where you do a lot of shopping. The data changes all the time. It's not realistic to expect that you have up-to-date, accurate statistics all the time, because then you're spending so much overhead that's going to drown out all your other business. So what the database does is that once in a while, once a day, once a week, it goes and calculates a sample of the statistics. So it has a good idea of how much data it's going to match. It's kind of like taking shortcuts. If you wanted to count cards for poker or blackjack or something like that, you could get by looking at one hand or two hands of poker to see what's going on. That gives you an idea of what the cards are like. That's not an accurate idea. You can't accurately count a lot of cards like that. It just gives you an idea. So this is kind of the same thing. So we get the estimate to tell us what we think might be the best way to get the data. This R row tells us how close the estimate was. The closer they are, the better that we have an assurance that this is the best path that can choose.
So R rows is actually how many rows it looked at.
Yes. We're gonna look at some other queries. Oh, in fact, when we start looking at the rest of the query I wrote, when we start doing the sub-queries and stuff like that, we'll have more entries in this output to look at. It'll show us how combining them together. So our main goal, though, is to get this 40,949 down. And one way to do that, and one of the best ways to do that, is with an index. Now we have to figure out what index to use. Now with this subquery, I'm going to tell you there's no good index to use. The reason is that we get this query select every single row from the table. Indexes in general are only good if you're selecting about 20% or less of the data. So if you are selecting half of all the data, the index is actually slower. It's faster to get 50% of the data than using a full table scan rather than going against the index. So for this subquery all by itself, even though we have this index here, it's not using it. Actually, it says it's using the index, but we're not gaining anything from it yet. How could we gain something from it? Let's go. I'm going to put a where. You know what? I'm going to make the spacing much better. Can I do a shift? No, it doesn't let me do that. We'll just squeeze all that down. What was that?
It's like all left click and you can just block.
It didn't let me select the white space as a block.
Yeah, you can alt and left, holding alt and left click, you select the block.
I'm clicking.
Or like you can click and drag, like hold alt and drag your mouse.
Well, I don't want to drag. I want to click. Yeah, could drag. You're saying hold alt and do what with the alt?
At least on my PHP, if you hold alt and do that, you just like select specific block of text or block of white space.
I don't think that's working in here though.
It doesn't look like it's doing it.
Oops. Well, for right now, we'll leave it like that. That's a little bit better. I'm gonna take out, yeah, we'll leave the analyze there. So I'm gonna put on a where clause, and in SQL, the where clause is called a predicate. And specifically, it's a filter predicate. And we use a where clause to filter out some of the data. So let's go take a look at the data we actually got, just to get an idea of what we can filter out. We got views, trending date, category ID. Let's go look at category ID of 1. Where category ID equal 1. So now we have 2,345 rows. If I do an analyze on that, what did I do wrong? Why doesn't it want to analyze? Oh, I spelled it wrong. Analyze. Analyze. So we're still getting, says we have an index using a where clause. Says it's using an index, but we still have a lot of rows.
It's the same.
What was that?
The rows are the same.
The rows are the same, yes. These rows haven't changed yet. Even though we're selecting out for category ID of 1, and the previous query that we ran that only returns 2,000 rows, the database still has to look at every single row to figure out which one are category 1. It doesn't know.
Still do the full scan, right?
I'm sorry?
Still do a full scan.
Yes, a full scan. It's kind of like if I give you, a Harry Potter book, and I said find every word of what Diagon Alley, whatever it is. And if you don't have an index, you have to look on every single page of the book. The index tells you where things are. So if you don't have an index, you still have to look at every single row. So we want to make that faster. Let's create an index. And we did this as part of homework 3. We created indexes, right? Now we're going to figure out why we're creating indexes. Yes, David?
Yeah, I was just gonna mention that. I did that and it wasn't like 39,000, but it was like exactly 2,000.
Yes, exactly. And you found that because you did the analyze command, right? Okay. Tell me, David, what index did you create?
I think it's like IDX category ID.
IDX Okay. What else?
Oh, one of the actual-
The whole thing, yes. Or if you might be able to paste it as a comment in the Google Doc drive too. And I have an idea what you put on it.
I just looked it up.
US videos.
It's
Want me to keep filling it in?
on US videos, parentheses, background,
Yep, that sounds about right.
and semicolon. If that-
I'm sorry, what's the last part?
And then the semicolon.
Right, yes. So I'll run that down here at the bottom. So there's nothing, there's no output. There's nothing that says, hey, I'm finished. I successfully created your index. The only news you get down here at the bottom. 0 warnings, effective rows, and it ran. But it doesn't really say successful or failed or errored or anything. It just, yeah, anyway.
It took a lot of time.
Yes.
It's like taking more time.
So I'm going to run our query again. So now, and David just mentioned this, the estimate changed, and it's actually accurate, and the real rows changed by a lot. So we went from 40,000, well, actually 41,000 approximately, down to 2,000. So this particular index helped tune our query a lot. Now, the only reason why it helped is because we said where category ID equals 1. If we use a different predicate, this index becomes not so helpful anymore. Let's see, what else do we have in our, I'm gonna see what other data we can select on. Trending date. Oh, the trending date one's fun. Let's just pick that one. We'll copy that value, where trending date equal, doesn't like the all caps. Let's see how many rows we get back from that. Oh, gotta do. It looks like it says 0 rows. I'm a little bit confused why it would say 0 row when I specifically copied one of them that was in the data. Fine, we'll pick a different one. Copy. I think I might see part of the problem. Trending date. Let me go take a look at something here. I did some fiddling around with some of my tables. I'm gonna go look at the definition, trending date. Oh, still varchar 2. So why did it say 0 rows found? Right, it says it right there. In my eyeballs bag, I copied 27/12/04. I pasted 2017/12/04. If nothing else, we should get that 1 row back, right? Doesn't that kind of make sense?
Let me try it on.
Give it a try.
It works on my.
It's what?
Give it a try.
It's what?
Give it a try.
Is it
Give it a try.
I'm sorry, just I'm just not hearing it.
Okay, give it a try.
The size?
Give it a try.
I don't know.
It works on mine.
It works on yours.
It says 40,000 rows.
But
Yeah, I'm commenting and try it. Try it.
I'm sorry. I just not getting it for some reason.
Just try it.
Yeah, he's saying try it.
Try it.
Try it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And try it again.
Yes, I'm gonna try it. I'm so confused.
Where shows the result? Where is the result?
That is so weird.
Oh,
Where?
Are you formatting the trending data? in the
That's
output?
on the output.
Yeah, but you copied the output.
Ah, yes, I did.
So you copied your formatted data and you then.
Yes. Oh, this is awesome though. I wish I would have led up to that a little bit better. There's something really funky going on with that. Thank you. Yes, you're totally right.
So you
Um,
did the format before. Oh, you use a dot?
He copied the format data. So the
Yes.
format, the data wasn't like that in the table.
Yes.
Oh.
Thank you. I still did something wrong.
Comment. First.
Yeah.
Commented out shouldn't be in its original format now.
The comment out, it just applies to that one line. Okay, let's see what the data looks
Oh,
like when I
yeah,
don't
there.
format it.
Yep.
7,
so-
oh, I don't have a 20. Okay. Oh, gee, I think the rest of it will work. Good eyes, good eyes. Thanks, we got that solved. There we go, now we got some data. I got 200 rows back for this particular one. Thank you for pointing that out. I want to come back to that too. So before we talk about the format of the date, I'm going to run an analyze on this, just to show that even though we have other indexes, we still probably won't get any benefit because we changed the predicate. Analyze. Let's go. Whoop. So we're back up to 40,949 rows. We need to create yet another index. Well, actually, we don't have to create another index. We could possibly just add this column to an existing index. So I got this one we were working on before. I'm going to drop it and recreate it. Drop. And I'm going to add another column. We'll call it trending date. I'm going to run both those commands, and we'll see how that changes our analyze. What happened here? So I have an index. It knows about it. It didn't recognize any of the keys. It's still taking 40,949 rows. But I added that column to the index, didn't I? The problem in this case is that the category ID is the leading edge of my index. And right now, we don't specify a category ID. So I have to look at every single category ID, and the index doesn't really help us out. What I'm going to do is reverse the order of our columns in the index. Oops. And we'll drop and recreate it.
So
I'm sorry.
the order of the index, the columns in the index matters.
Yes, yes, they do.
How?
So now we have, there's an official name for that. And what's the, like a compound, I think it's a compound key index, when you have multiple keys in your index. So I have the same index, it's the same name, same columns. The only thing different I did this time is I switched the order of the columns in my index. Now if you look at the R rows, it's down to 200, which is a lot better.
So you're indexing the values based on the first one.
It's going in order. So I'm going to build an index on the whiteboard. I think that's probably a good way to do it. Let's see if we can blank the screen for a moment.
I was worried you're about to start drawing in.
It's my screen marker. Fully erasable, I'm sure it is. Green, oh, blue. Blue shows up, okay. That is black. Let's see if black is better. And a little bit better. So maybe you can start building an index from scratch, but right now I think what we'll do is we'll pretend that we have a list of values. And how do we want to do them? We have a list of values. Those videos, we'll do it by category IDs. We had some categories were music. We had another one for gaming. What are some other categories? One for video blogging. What was that?
Sports.
Sports, yep. Sports.
At the same time.
Well, maybe two more.
Politics.
Politics. and one more.
Economics.
I'm sorry.
Economics.
Yes,
Economics.
economy,
Economics.
economics. Sure, that sounds good. So if we build an index on this, what if, well, the most normal kind of index is called a balanced tree index. So it's going to try making an index that looks like a tree. Oh, it's going to be an upside down tree. Oops. Something, it's going to try to make an index that's kind of like this. The whole idea of a balanced tree is that no matter how far down the tree you go, each search will be approximately the same. It minimizes the depth of your search. It's an optimization technique for finding things. So we have what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 items on our list. What you do is you find the one that's in the middle. So if we were to alphabetize this, which one of these terms would be in the middle, close to the middle? Let's alphabetize them. So we got 1, 2.
Oh, and then you're comparing it
Yes,
with each side.
yes.
So it's like a
Is it on
binary
the
tree.
Yeah, it is.
It's like
It's just a binary search.
so
Yes.
it's a data structure.
Okay.
Is it the same as what?
Data structure.
It's a very, very, very similar concept. In fact, you know, yes, I'm just going to say yes. Because behind the scenes, the whole thing was written in C or C++, I think, way back when. And so, yes, they use data structures to build a binary tree. They're calling it a balanced tree because there's some other administrative operations that go on when they like delete, leave, or branches. It rebalances itself.
Okay.
So we've got our,
So it's a rebalancing binary tree.
yes, and the whole balancing part is what keeps the index organized and maintained over time. Because the idea is that you'll probably be taking things out, putting things in your index, and you don't want to have to rebuild the entire index every single time you make a small change.
Nice.
So we've got, well, we'll say we'll round down for ties. So we'll say our middle guy is this guy. We're going to round down. We don't have a 3.5. We're going to put music here in our root branch. And then for music, we'll go probably number 2. We'll go to left first. So number 2 would be gaming. And then number 1 from that, which is economics. You kind of get the idea. So in this simple tree, our maximum depth is going to be depth of 2. You don't count the root node at the depth. It'd be basically 0. So depth of 0, 1, and 2. So in our simple list, again, and the more depth you have, the longer things take because you're reading in a whole block from disk. So when we have a compound key, what should be our other key? Let's do times then. We'll do days. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, etc., etc. Thursday. We have to alphabetize these guys too. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Now, if we alphabetize them, F comes first, I think. A lot of T's and S's. Monday.
And there's
T's.
Saturday.
Yeah, S. Yep.
Saturday.
Yep.
Sunday. Tuesday.
Thursday.
Thursday.
This is tricky, isn't it? I think we got that right. Now I gotta remember in my head how we build it over here. So what you do is you go to music first, because that's the leading edge of our index. After you get to music, then you point. I think we're gonna have a second tree here. I gotta make sure I do this. I want to tell you correctly. I don't want to give you the wrong information. Do we have a second tree? I'm getting it screwed up in my head now. So instead of telling you the wrong thing, let me look it up first. I really don't want to tell you the wrong thing. Essentially, what's going to happen though is that it's going to look at the first key first, and then once it gets this block, then it needs to go look in the second key. And I wish I could remember off the top of my head how it works. That's my homework, I guess.
The number you've given them, are those the indexes?
The number for what?
The number before the category?
No, this is purely so we can understand the order of it.
Okay.
Since when I wrote them down, I don't write them in alphabetical order. Well, and actually that happens a lot in real life, right? When you index something and not necessarily in order, you have to go and put them in order somehow. Okay. This is just the order of way things happen. So number one would be the one at the one leaf node at the farthest end of the index, and then number 6 would be at the right-hand side of the index. Again, this is just a way for us to visualize it. These are all zeros and ones on the disk. They're not left or right. They're not top and bottom. It's just a picture for us to help us see what's going on.
But you have to order them before you give them indexes.
That's what indexes do. They order data. And not only do they put it in order, but they put it in a structure so it makes it very easy to search for things. You're thinking something, I can tell.
I'm thinking of DFS.
Okay.
Are those the algorithms they use to search for specific
Did you say CSS?
DFS?
DFS.
Like the journaling system?
Depth
First
versus
search.
Oh, that I see what you're saying. So yeah, you can do depth first search if you want. But the way this is organized is that you don't have to. It's like you don't have to guess which way to go. You compare. Well, if I'm looking for the word, let's say I want to look for a brand new word. I can't think. Human kinetics. Well, I compare human kinetics. Is it less than or right greater than M? Then I go to gaming. Is it less than or greater than gaming? So I don't have to search every single branch, hoping I find it. I'm searching a very small number of branches. Does that make sense? It's a way of optimizing a search. So there's some ideas of a depth first search. It almost combines the best of a depth first and a breadth first, in a sense. Blank. Where did blank go? Here we go. So the order of the columns matter. If we had 2 different predicates, if we also had the category ID, it doesn't matter which one of them would come first if we used them both. You kind of have to think to yourself, well, what are we using this index for? What is the predicate used for? Yeah. So we've got an idea for our inner query. David, yes?
Can you do something similar where it's like create or replace index, like drop?
Create or replace? Yeah, sure. I'm just used to doing a drop or recreate. A drop,
Is
yeah.
that more like easy for the person to understand who's looking at your code to drop it and then create it?
You mean like that, create or replace?
Like which convention?
What's the what?
What's the convention? If you want to just change the index.
So I come from the Oracle world, and they don't have drop or replace. They don't have or replace.
Oh.
So I'm not used to using it.
So you just do drop and create.
So as far as the convention goes, you can, but as far as the convention goes, it's kind of whatever you want to do. But probably this is better because then you don't have, because what happens a lot, especially in Oracle, is that you'll try to drop everything and some of it won't exist until you get errors. Or you come around and try to create stuff and some of them will exist and you get errors. It kind of sucks. But what's kind of nice about doing a create or replace is that it doesn't matter if it exists or if it doesn't exist. you won't get any errors. And that's good. I keep pumping that. All right, camera. So yeah, we'll do a drop and create or replace. I believe that will work just fine. And no errors. It looks like it worked well. So yes, that's a good convention to use. I'm just not used to using it yet.
Curious.
So let's go, we're gonna zoom out to our query now. Where did I put that? So we used a subquery. Now I'm gonna go to the next subquery. Let's see where it is. This guy here. And we'll paste it out. We'll still paste that in the Google Doc too. So we're just zooming out. We're using the same inner query that we had before, and now we're going to wrap that up in a query around it. And the spacing is really bad. Let's see what happens when we run. I think we can run it just as is. Yeah, good, it works. I'm trying to fit my window here. We have our inner query, and all it is gathered a bunch of data. I didn't talk about this format. We need to talk about that. The only reason why the subquery exists, the only reason is for the date. It's formatting the date. That's the only reason why it exists. Why do we care about that? I'm going to add a query here. US videos. Trying to remember how far down we have to go for this. Okay. So it says, I'm ordering it by the trending date. What do you think this date is? That first one, 17/01/12. What date is that? What month, what day? What?
January 12th.
January 12th. That sounds like a guess, though. Are you guessing? You don't know?
Well,
Just
because it's got the year first, so I'm assuming it's the Asian format of year, month, date.
That would make sense to me. So we don't know for sure, but okay, let's scroll down a little bit. Now what do you think?
Definitely December 2026.
So why do you think it's December now instead of January?
There's no 12. There's no 20.
Because
Because why?
There's no 22.
Not in our current calendar, right?
what kind of format is that?
Yes, that's exactly what I thought. Yes. So now I ordered it by trending date, right? So when I say order by, that means that the oldest date should come first. And that's what order by trending date means, right? I want to sort it in order, in an ascending order. If it's an ascending order, the smallest date or the oldest date should be first. So at the very top, we thought it was January 12th, and now we're realizing, oh, it's really December 1st. Okay, fine. December 1st is at the top. Now we're down to December 22nd. Oh, but it gets better. I'm scrolling down, December 22nd, 23rd. Well, wait a second. Wait a second. So we went from December, where'd it go?
November.
We went from December 22nd to November 23rd.
Because it's 23, which is
Yeah.
later than 22.
You're absolutely correct. But why? David.
It reads from left to right.
It is reading from left to right, yes.
So it orders left number, in this case, the smallest, and then goes to the next, I don't know, pair of numbers.
Yes.
And then it's higher.
Yes. But I thought I said order by trending date. The date, shouldn't the smallest date be first?
It's ordering them numerically, not.
I would argue not numerically.
Is there no video on December 23rd then? It just skips. straight?
Yeah, there is. There actually is a December 23rd coming up. That's the next one after all the 2311s.
23rd?
Yeah, want to see it? So we got 17, 23, 11. And we go down, 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 and up 23, 12. So, new calendar. December 23rd comes after November 23rd, which comes after December 22nd. You're gonna love this calendar. It's gonna be awesome. Christmas falls after January 24th. Actually, falls after January 25th.
I think that's reasonable.
It's what?
That's reasonable.
Reasonable? Really?
Because the first coming out is December 1st, right? So it's compare the first
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
number and then the second number.
Okay, fair enough. I'm gonna ask you then, what's the day after December 23rd?
Probably December 24th.
In real life, yes. But according to this, the day after December 23rd is not December 24th. Okay,
What is it?
it's gonna say January 24th is next. Because what's happening is that it's comparing the characters. Consider this a string. Let's say it's an alphanumeric string. It can have letters, it can have digits, it can have periods, it can have colons. We don't really care what, it just contains lots of stuff. And we told it to order it. So, okay, fine. The ASCII value for 1 and the ASCII value for 7 is ordering it by the ASCII value of the characters themselves. But that's not what I want. I want the actual date. So if I want the actual date, I actually have to go and format it. Let's go back to our query, which is why I'm doing this funny thing here. Copy that, bring it back over here. So I'm doing the same select. All I've changed is the way it's being ordered. And then formatting the date so that it's, this format is the way it's inputted. So I'm telling my database, okay, don't think of this as a string anymore. Think of these first 2 characters as year, dot. Think of the next 2 characters as a day, dot. And then the last 2 characters as a month. I want you to take that format and turn it into a day for me. A date, a real date format. What does it not like? Oh, it doesn't like the thing at the end. Okay. So I've still got 14, 11 here. Well, it didn't start off with 23 this time. We'll scroll down. What comes after 4? Oh, look at that. What comes after 14, 11? That makes more sense. So the way it looks on the screen hasn't changed at all. The order in which it appears has changed because I told it to order it by the actual day that it comes up.
So there's actually a data type called date inside the SQL.
When inside the SQL is a language. It's a way of accessing the database. You mean inside the database?
I mean, so the date should be a string to date should be a built-in function.
It's a function in SQL, yes. So we're telling it to convert our string, this guy right here, into a date.
And the date is a data type in SQL.
It's a data type, yes.
Thanks for that.
So let's go take a look at our table here. I'm gonna go look at the structure of it. Our trending date is set up as a var par, a variable with character field of length 8. So the trending date is not a date data type. So the whole magic of using a date data type is that we can put things in the proper order. We know that January 1st comes after December 30th, right? Or is it 31st? One of those. And we know that Monday comes after Sunday. We can't do that with a string. But with a date, we have all this extra date math we can apply to a date. We can add days, we can subtract days, we can say, you know, in November 23rd of the year 3031, what's the day going to be? We can figure it out using date math. With a string, you have to convert everything. So taking this long conversation, why am I belaboring this point? There's a couple things I want to demonstrate.
Wait, is a string data type the default whenever you import some tables from like
Default
the
data type?
Yep.
I don't know of any default data type. We have to pick one.
But
For
you
example-
car when you imported it.
I didn't pick it.
who pick it?
So I used a tool called CSV to SQL. That made it really easy for me to
So
Go and
you
convert
convert it
something.
With that tool, they choose varchar as default.
Ah,
Is the answer.
So what you do is you can upload your CSV file and it looks at the whole thing, tries to figure out what everything should be. And I don't think it by default it chooses anything to be an actual date. You have to go and tell it.
Change
I'm sorry.
Can you tell it?
Yes,
this column
yes.
is down.
The tool is very nice for you can modify it up left and right. It's very nice for that. I was just going really, really quickly. I want to get stuff up on our database. I just said, take all default, boom, do it. And it did. So that's our,
it's
that
so
database.
annoying when you have to pick the data type manually every time you import something into the.
But the payoff is huge. I'm gonna demonstrate something here. Where did I put it? I thought I put it on here. So I've got US videos. So now, and what I did is I converted the table. So I took the US videos table and I basically did a select create table as select star, and I select all the different columns, and I use the date format to get this guy to be an actual date. So in this table, I've got in the US videos when they're fixed, all my trending dates are actual dates. I also did the same thing for publish time. The publish time before was a string also. What's interesting, if I look at the sizes, the exact same number of rows. So it went from 9.5 megabytes down to 8.5 megabytes. Any ideas for that? There's approximately 40,949 rows.
Because the data type is different
Yes, that's a big part of the reason, yes.
and the character takes up, I'm not sure, it's a 32 bits system or
You're on the right path.
because they're different data type and takes a different
Yes.
number
So
of
the bar
memory locations.
The varchar is a variable width of 8 bytes. That's 4 bits in a, so what, 4 bits in a byte? 8 bits in a byte. How does that go?
It's 1 byte, 1 byte.
8 bits in a byte though, right?
8 bits is 1 byte.
So if a var width character is 8 bytes long, that makes it 64 bits, right?
Yep, yep.
So to store my date, it takes 64 bits. To store a date, I believe is 27 bits.
Why?
All I have to store is zeros and ones. It's a integrated number. It's a number something. Yeah.
Yeah.
So instead of storing like J and A and N for January, or a 0 and a 1 for January, it's compressing basically into a date data type that's just a pure number.
But it's gonna slow down some things too, then, right? Because it has to do a bunch of math to calculate things. For
That's
the
only
date.
when you need it to come back out of the database. You see that on the
Exactly.
screen.
So your queries will take longer with date versus varchar. I mean, technically they would, right? Like if you had 1,000 of them and you ran 1,000 queries on it.
But you don't often
No,
display every single date to the screen.
no. But if you did,
If you did,
it would
yes,
take
you would have to do that conversion.
Okay, so that would take longer, but it takes up less space.
Takes up less space, and then doing all the interactions, the comparing dates, all that kind of stuff is a lot faster. Because it's smaller, and when we're doing an index on it, the index is smaller too. And the index will be correct. If you do an index on the other one, it's going to be incorrect because it puts it all in what it thinks is the right order, and it's all out of order. Yeah, so I got this table with a fixed or corrected, proper date. I'm just going to show the differences between those two tables and our.
Should we be changing the format from large target date?
I'm sorry.
Should we also be changing it from large target date
For what?
for the data type?
In your own tables?
Yeah.
You don't have to.
Can we?
Oh yeah, of course. There's a couple ways to do it. I wanted to demonstrate something here though. Where did it go? We had a query that we were working on. I'm going to take out this one again. I'm going to run analyze on that. So this is our, oh, we still, oh, okay, the indexes don't matter. So our previous query, 4,949 rows. I'm going to change it to now use US videos fixed. This is a table I made a little bit better by using the date. Before I run it, how is it going to change what I see down here for the R rows? What do you think? Should I have fewer R rows now that we have more optimized table?
Perhaps.
Say again?
Perhaps.
Why? I don't think so.
Oh, come on. Where'd that come from?
You cannot delay that?
You're query for that. There's 40,000 words. Jeez.
But what really sucks is that I can't undo. I can't get my query back. Oh, it's over here. That was weird. So it's giving me a bunch of warnings because my format for my data is wrong, but I don't need to format it anymore because it's in the correct format. I'm just going to take that part of it out.
So,
40,949 rows still. The table is smaller, and after you run the select, we'll see that the time in seconds is slightly different, but better. Let's take out the analyze command. So I run this one, and it tells me 0.15 seconds. And if I go against US videos, so comparing it to 0.15,
oh,
where'd it go? How can it be 0 seconds?
super quick. It doesn't take any.
Because you can only count to 3 decimal places.
Yes. Undo. No, not that one. Okay, I have an idea what's going on here. I was hoping to show that. Okay. First time I ran it, 0.15 seconds. The second time I ran it was a lot faster. This is an unfortunate side effect to other optimizations, specifically in this case, it's caching. So we've got caching at the disk, we've got caching at the file system, and probably the database itself. So the database, I don't remember how much memory the database has, but it's going to store the most recent results in memory. The operating system is going to do the same thing. And if the disk is a memory backed disk, or like some bigger systems that are front end, what they call flash memory, it gets cached in this. The most recent stuff that you do is in memory. You don't have to go read disk. Reading disk is really, really expensive.
Ah, so it's hardware.
Is what?
It's hardware.
Yeah, yeah. But the software controls how the hardware operates. So in this case, we have 3 different layers of cache, and somewhere, whether it's the database, the operating system, or the disk, is caching our results, so it's going a lot faster. And now we can't see anything past 0.000 seconds. What I was trying to demonstrate, though, is that the number of R rows is exactly the same. We haven't changed the R rows at all. But I would claim, and if we added more granularity, we could probably see that the other table is slightly faster. Not much, but since we fixed that one data type and there's fewer rows, fewer blocks that we're now consuming with our table, it goes slightly faster. We have to read fewer blocks from disk. So the big impact that we're going to have, though, is by adding the index. Let's go take a look at our query again. That was the wrong one. We're talking about that. That's the query we're working on with the windows. We'll put that back in here. Go down. Go down. So we've got this query that we want to make better. We want to have decrease the R rows at some point somehow. Let's figure out how many R rows we have. I'm going to analyze in front of it after I spell it correctly. So we still got 40,949 rows. I was expecting to see something different, but maybe when we put the other subquery on. So again, I'm not going to worry too much about this syntax, last value over W. We have a lot of over W terms here. And we have a window clause down here. I'm not going to talk about that syntax yet. We're saving it for another week when we talk about analytics. That's kind of like a little preview of what's coming up. Since we can not worry about it, this affects how the query works, but it's not going to affect how we tune it. I'm going to delete it for right now. And this stuff up here, we are going to have to index over that though. You know what? I'm going to put it back in. There's something important that we need to look at. So before I said when you have you put an index, you have that where clause. When we have a partition by, it's acting somewhat similarly. The partition by is telling me for every ID, it's very much like a group by. So if you do like select video IDs and the max trending date, if you will, that would be a partitioning kind of statement. Group by, partition, thing, kind of similar kind of words. So we say partition by video ID, we're basically saying group by the video ID and then order by the trending date. So if we have a video ID of 1, and let's say it has 20 entries, 20 different trending dates, the window clause tells me to put it in order. So if we have an index, what would we put an index on to help that particular thing? And you only have a certain number of columns to choose from. Yes, David.
So it'd be a compound,
On what?
ID and trending date.
Let's try it. Did you try it yet? Okay. Before I do that, how much of the data are we going to grab?
All of
So is it going to use the index? Why not?
because you're going to the whole table.
Right. So the rule of thumb is about 20%. If you're going to only grab 20% of the table, the index is probably a good idea. And anything over 20% is probably not going to use the index. Probably. There's some exceptions, of course. So we could put an index on the video ID and the trending date. It's probably not going to help because we have to read the entire table anyway. So, and that's since we have this clause, and the only thing the select does is select stuff out of that. It doesn't have any where clauses, doesn't do anything else. All it's doing selecting. We probably won't be able to realize any improvements
What if
by
you
indexing
add
on that.
an index inside of it before you add in another index
But you want to put an index on what though?
on the inner select?
On the inner select, the subquery?
Yeah.
But on which column? You put an index on a column. What column would you put an index on? We're selecting all the rows. That's the big problem with it. When you deal with a query, you want to tune it. The indexes only help if you're selecting some of the rows. I'm going to go back out to our other query here. This is where it becomes a lot more important. Now, in our outermost query, now we start to limit the data. So whenever I see a join clause or I see a where clause, for me, that's a flag. That's how I can index it and something will help. So up here, lots of stuff going on, right? Subqueries and analytics and windows. It's basically just all fluff. It's all noise for this particular class today. We don't really care about what's going on out there. For sake of indexes, all we really care about is all that's down here.
So category ID and trending date.
Pretty much. I'm going to observe that we've introduced a second table here. So up here, we're selecting from US videos. Now we're joining to a US category ID, a second table. So when you say put an index on the category ID, I have to ask which table.
Okay, assume of the table was selected.
We're selecting from both.
Which one's more important to know?
Well, let's look at it. What's limiting the data? The where clause here is going to limit a lot of data. Where the last date is greater than the
No,
first
no,
date.
it's on c.id. So it's
The join, yes, the join is on that.
no.
Another limit here, and this is going to be a little confusing. It says Rn equals 1. What's Rn? We haven't talked about that too much. Rn is coming out of, I wrote this, I'm pretty familiar with it. Row number. Row number is an analytic function. And I'm giving it an alias of Rn. So this Rn1 is telling me wherever this whole function gives me a value of 1. That's another limiting factor. But because it's an analytic function, we can't put an index on it. So for the sake of this important stuff down here at the bottom, we're going to ignore Rn equals 1 because we can't index it. Let's look at the other stuff. Group by, the index isn't going to help in that. We still have to select all the rows. Order by, you can sometimes use an index because things are already in order. You don't have to resort them. But it's not going to limit the number of rows.
So just trending date.
Maybe. One other thing I'm going to observe, you mentioned category ID, and I asked you which table. If we did it on the US category ID, there's, I don't know, 200 rows total maybe in that table? We could look it up real quick. How many rows are in the category ID? Category ID. 311 rows in their category ID. So if we put an index on this, it might help a little bit.
But not very much.
Not so much, mostly because we have to grab all of them. I'm going to show you something here, what happens when we put an analyzer in front of this. I think this can become a lot more clear once we run the whole thing. Oop, not there. I do it in Heidi. Query, we'll do it over this one. Category ID does not exist. Why does it not exist? I drop it. Okay, so duration, half a second, kind of long in computer terms, not too bad for here. Analyze that. Now we've got some more interesting things happening in our analyze. We've got table C, which I'm going to scroll off the screen now. So I gave it the US category ID has an alias of C. Instead of typing the entire thing out, I just call it C. When it says table C, we're talking about the category ID. We have the table US videos. We're getting 40,949 rows for US video, which we want to bring that number down a lot. So what we're going to observe here, though, is going to the category ID table first. And then it goes to a derived table. A derived table is basically a subquery. And then after doing that one, it goes to the US video table to figure out what data to get out at the end. If we want to make this faster, if you actually, more specifically, if we want to take the number of rows, our rows down, one big way to do it is put an index on that join condition on the big table. Small table is not going to matter too much because we have to get all the rows out of the small table anyway. There's another field I'm looking for and I don't see it. there's another field, I have to figure out how to get it. But it tells us that for every single row out of the first table, we're doing like something called a nested loop. We look for the category ID in one table, and we use it to look for that category in another table. So we have to join them together eventually. Because we have to do it again and again and again, if we make it so that every time it looks for the category ID in the big table, we make that part faster, there's an exponential increase. That kind of makes sense? Maybe let me draw. Another picture here real quick. Right. We got some spot in here in the middle. Let's say we have a small table of 4 rows, and we have a bigger table. We have lots and lots of rows. Say it's 4,000. We have 4 rows here, 4,000 rows over here. And let's say there's it's on a primary key. I have a 1, 2, 3, and a 4. I have lots of 1s and lots of 2s, and lots of 3s, and lots of 4s. Just lots of. There's 4,000 rows over here. If I join these 2 tables together on that key, I'm going to say, okay, for number 1, find me all the rows that match number 1. If I don't have an index, I have to search every single row on this side. But it doesn't stop there. Then I go back over here. Okay, now, number 2, go back here. I have to search every row again for number 2.
4 times.
3, 4.
So
Sorry.
it's 4 times the total rows of the. So it's 16,000.
Yeah, 16,000. Because I have no index, it doesn't tell me where these rows are. I have to search every single row every single time. That's 4,000 hits. If I have an index, the index over here can be the more important one. I can say, okay, I'm looking for number 1. Give me all your number 1s. I don't have to search every single row. I only have to search my index, which is going to tell me exactly where the rows are. So that index is going to be helpful, not just for that 1 lookup, but for every single lookup on this small table over here. David.
So let's say the lookups on the small table vary in size. Like if you look up how many 1s there were on the large table, and there's way less than 20% of the large table consists of 1s, but you look up 4, and it's like half of the large table consists of 4s. What would you do then?
That's a great question. Some databases deal with that differently. I'm trying to remember how MySQL does it. Sometimes, what usually happens is that you get the cache, and it's going to remember. Okay, so you did a 1 lookup last time, and I used an index. I remember that. So the next time you ask for a 4, and even though there's a lot more data out there for that 4, I'm still going to use the index because that's what I used last time. It helped a lot. But the reverse is also true. Let's say, remember the optimizer. The optimizer says, oh, we have a 4 coming in. That's half the table. I don't want to use an index. I'm going to use a full table scan because it's a lot faster. And then right after that, you say, okay, now I want number 1. The optimizer is going to say, oh, well, he just did it. I gave him a full table scan, so I'm going to give him another full table scan. So it depends on how the optimizer works and how long ago you did your query. That's the best I can answer your question.
So there's just more layers to it. Basically.
I'm sorry, there's more what?
There's more layers to it then.
Oh, there's a lot of layers. It just keeps on going. We don't have to worry about too many of those layers because we have a small table, small database. So, but it's a great question though. I appreciate you asking that. And yes, there are a lot of layers. So we're going to put an index on the big table. I want to see how it affects our R rows. We got 49,000 R rows over here.
I know. So is that every time you're giving an index to a table, you're full scanning the table
When you create the index, yes.
for once?
Yes.
Okay.
There's no way around that. You have to scan it at least once somewhere down the line.
What information does it store with the index?
So the index is sorting data. So it's got to store a key and then the value. It's kind of like arrays, like an associative array in like another language. It's very much like that. Any kind of array you have in a different language, you have a key and the value.
It's like dictionary. Python. Dictionary in Python.
So like in Python, you have arrays in Python, like a named array.
It's name value pairs. Right.
I think so. Okay. If I remember correctly. So let's go create that index. Where did we create it before? I didn't want to type the whole thing in again, but we'll do it anyway. I'm going to create an index on the category ID. Create and or replace index, and it's going to be in the big table, US videos. We'll call it short category. We'll call it the category ID on US videos. Yeah, if I could type, it'd be better. Category ID. I think I spelled it all right. Now my one question though, we have an index already. What was our other index on? I don't remember. But now that we've created our index, let's go see how that changes stuff. If it changes anything at all. Nope, it still has other video index. Let's drop that video index. Maybe it's getting our way. Drop index video, what is it called? Videos IDX. You guys probably won't have to drop any indexes if you don't have any that existing. I've been playing around a lot, so I left some junk laying around out there. US videos. We'll drop that one, see if that affects our query. No index. That's interesting. What do we call it? US vids cat index. That's on the right table, right?
IDX?
CID. So one of my drive tables has a, nope. It's using the category ID from the category table. Don't remember what I had to do differently. Let me take this down a little bit. Okay, let me go back to my cheat sheet to see what I did. Let's see, what did I do? Copy the table, trending date. We talked about that. Created indexes. We haven't talked about that one yet. But I didn't specify any details. Take that down a little bit. Down. Okay. We created an index on US videos. It says it's a derived table, which is interesting. I want this arrow to go down. Where did I mess up? Category ID. I'll have to think about that. Okay, I don't want to waste your time. There's one more special kind of index I want to talk about, but it's cheating because it's not really an index. I'm going to do a query here. We'll keep that one. Video ID max and min. Oops, I got something important. I got a group video ID. So I got a query. What is my query doing? Yes.
It's going through all videos, finding each one's earliest and latest trends.
Yes. And why do you know it's the earliest and latest?
Max and min.
Right. Okay. Technically, we're doing it on the US video table, which still has the var card. So this is messed up data. I could probably do it on the corrected table, would be a lot more accurate. But for the sake of our discussion, that's not going to matter too much. The general idea, like you said, David, is that we're, for each video ID, we're finding the max or the latest and the min or earliest date for each video. Why do I care about that? I'm going to go back to my post on Cobra. And I mentioned that I want to take a look at the slope of the likes and the views ratio over time. And I'm going to use a slope formula, y2, I don't know how recently you guys took math, but this y2 minus y1 over x2 x minus x1. If you have two coordinates, you can define a line. And if you have a line, you get a slope from the line using this formula. So I want to see if, based on when the video came out, when it first trended, to when it last trended, did the ratio of likes versus views go up or go down or stay the same? So the slope helped me answer that question. I had the p2 squared as a bunch of maybe stuff with the trending date, window functions, everything else. If I want to decrease the number of rows my query looks at, and I'm specifically looking for slopes and last dates and early dates, I don't care about all the other dates in between the max and min, right? I don't care if on the third trending date it was a 0 views or if it had the most views in the world. Because I specifically said, I'm looking for the slope of the first date and the last date. I can ignore, I can throw away all the other dates. Well, if the whole point of this class today is to get rid of, is to reduce the number of our rows, what if we had an index that told me the last date and the first date for each video ID? In other words, what if I had an index that did this query?
You're trying to simulate a scatter plot with a straight line?
Are you asking if I'm trying to correlate it?
No, I'm asking if you are going to like simulate a scatter plot.
No, I'm not trying to simulate anything. All I'm doing is trying to find the slope between 2 points.
Yeah, but why are you just choosing the starting points and ending points? Probably the slope has been changing.
It was an arbitrary decision. I could have chosen the second to last date and the last date. But I'm thinking that if you're looking at a trend, obviously the more data points you have is more accurate. But I didn't want two dates that were too close together because you could have a really sharp slope that would just be what's it called? An outlier. It'd be a temporary or intermittent slope. It's just an arbitrary decision for the exercise purpose. Wasn't so much from the analytical point of it, it's more about showing that I could do a maximum and something with it. I wanted something a little practical. Good question though, good question. What if I had an index that could map this out? Give me a video ID. Tell me what the max trending ID and the min trending ID is. In other database systems, in fact, in MySQL, so we're using a database called MariaDB, based on a database called MySQL. Slightly different. One of the differences is that MySQL supports putting an index that does this. MariaDB does not yet have this. This is called a function-based index. So instead of putting an index on specific key columns, I can put an index on functions. And they have to be deterministic function. What does deterministic function mean? Deterministic, what does that mean?
That you can compare
Compare?
statistically.
You can, but why? What's the nature of being deterministic that allows it to happen? David?
It always gives you a result.
Yeah, well, all functions give you results. Add another word. What kind of results? Unique,
same.
yes. I'm sorry?
Same.
The same, yes, thank you.
Repeated.
So every time I add 2 plus 2, I always get 4.
Oh, so no random numbers.
So it's repeated.
Repeatable.
So what?
Repeatable. Yeah, repeatable.
Yes, repeatable, yes. So it's, every time you put in a specific input, you always get the same output. That makes it deterministic. I can index deterministic functions. In MariaDB, I don't have a way to create a function-based index, but I can cheat. And this is how I'm going to cheat. I have my function. This is the stuff I want to index. This is the meat of it. I'm going to create a table called US videos. I'm going to abbreviate function-based index to be FBI. So when I say FBI, that's my abbreviation for function-based indexed. So I'm creating a table calling it US videos underscore FBI as the output of my select statement. Created the table just fine, no errors. Now I can take my table and I can join it to my query. Let's see how this works. I'm going to come up with my, I should have an example of my other query here. Nope, not that one. Let's write a new query then. Only care about the first one and the last one. Got to think. My brain's not working at the moment. I'm gonna have to give you a pseudo query. I meant to send myself a note on how it's supposed to work. We're gonna do from US videos inner join. What do they call it? US videos FBI, I think it was. We'll call that V, call that one F. I'm trying to remember. Oh, no, what we can do. We have maximum mins. Yeah, I think we do that. Like a type. Group by video ID. Having clause. You guys know what the having clause is?
Similar to where?
Yes, how's it different?
I did know.
At some point in time. Okay, I will refresh on it. I'm trying to get a date here. Not formatted. I think we're okay with the formatting. Go back to this query. Whenever we do a group by function, I can't say where on the group by because groups are not resolved until after the predicate is resolved. So if I want a specific max trending date, I can't use where max trending date equals something because invalid equals syntax. If I want to filter on the group function itself, I have to say having and it has to come after the group clause. So here I'm looking specifically for video ID and a max trending date. In fact, I don't even think I need it in the select clause. Which video ID has a max trending date of 18/11/06? I'm going to run it, make sure it actually works first.
Why there's a B after USB?
So why do I have what?
There's a V after USB.
Yes.
Why?
So the US video, that B is called a table alias. I like to use aliases so that when I use like B.video ID, if I didn't have the alias, I'd have to type out US videos every single time I refer to a column. So I use the table alias for B. I use the table alias as F for my other table. I like to use aliases because it saves my typing. They're completely optional though. You don't have to use the table alias. You just less typing. It gave me an error. Corresponds to the right. Oh, it rolled off the screen. Use near video ID having. Group. Let's use the word by. It's kind of necessary. Video ID field list is ambiguous. Yes, it is. Make it D. And D. And I think that's all we need. And it's running. Didn't expect it to run that long. Well, this is an example of not using index. It's still running.
The timing in the bottom right corner.
I'm sorry?
On the bottom right corner of the window is a timing how long it's. I think there was like a timer running.
Yeah, I didn't see that running. I didn't even notice it before.
17 seconds.
So I'm going to do a analyze on that.
Yeah, it's running in the bottom right corner.
Right. Good point. I didn't notice that before. I'm surprised you see that from all the way back there. Especially as it's blurry and you like all these things are optical to make it harder for you. It's good to analyze, right? Why did it take so long to analyze it?
It's up less time.
It shouldn't take that long to analyze it though. So you've got our simple table F, which is the smaller function-based table, and the other table B. I think I just wrote my query wrong, which is why it's not working. When I write it correctly, instead of going 40,949 rows, I should only get a lot fewer rows because it's a specific one. And I think what I need to do, what do we call it? I didn't give him data. I'm going to recreate this table because I want to name my columns. Not surprised it created the table. Min date, create or replace. That says it's done running. Okay. Oh, so actually that might work out in our favor. So they having max didn't help us, but now I can do a where trending date, and it's now called a max date on the F table. Oh, come on. Where has to go in front of the group by. That ran really fast though. The R rows are still messing with me. We didn't put an index on it. That's what the problem was. So right now we're just joining tables. We still have a high number of rows because this isn't actually an index. We don't have an index on the, well, I'll ask you, what should we put the index on to make it work? A couple things to choose from. What would you put an index on?
Either F.video
What was that?
F.video ID.
Be that video ID.
That sounds like a guess.
So it's moving by the video ID.
I heard two different things, F.video ID and did I hear V.video ID?
That's that next page.
So the V table is the big table. The F table is the small table. I'm filtering on the small table's max date.
So can you just use max date?
I'm sorry?
Can you use the max date as index?
For the index?
Yeah.
On the F table, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, that's what we're gonna do. David? Yeah. Yes. Let's do them one at a time. And this is similar to what you'll be doing on your homeworks. We know the analyze gave us the numbers. So we got that done. That's step one for our homework. We would do a create. I'm gonna get used to saying or replace index. Let's do it on a small table first. So FBI max date on US videos FBI, and it's on the max date. Do that one first.
Why can't we just use F this time?
Why can't we just do what?
Use F instead of such a long word. Can you use F instead of US video FBI here?
On which part of the index?
Yeah.
Because it doesn't remember his alias from the.
Well, not only does it not remember, but it's not valid. You can't use an alias in the index statement. It's not a valid syntax. And I only referenced the table once. I mean, where would I put F? Because I had the table here, and that's the only place where it is. And there's no other table that I'm indexing, just that one table. So I got one index in there. Our rows for the first one went down, what was it, 6,000 before? And now we're down to 3. So significant help for that one. I think we can do better though. So we're going to create another index. US videos vid IDX. US videos. And we're going to put it on, what do we want to put it on?
Video.
And where do you get that clue from? Why did you say, you're right, but why did you say that? Because what?
Group by?
Not because the group by. There's something else. I said, look at two different things for index. I said the where clause and the joins. Those are the first places you want to look. So I'm looking here, we did the where clause. We got an index on the where clause. We got that done. The next thing to look at, the join clause. What are we doing for the join clause? I'm sorry, what do we index for the join clause? Well, it looks like the video ID is a good thing to do.
What does the join do?
Another great question, and it's something we covered in our 176 class. They literally join together two tables, so they look like one. You take all the columns and all the rows from both tables and smash them into one giant table. The inner join makes a filter join, so you only join on certain things. If you do an outer join, it takes in everything even if they don't match. We can go, I've got like 1 second left. We can talk about that later.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. I'm going to do my analyze. Huge difference now. I'm getting 3 rows from my small table and 5 rows from my big table. Huge difference.
Yeah.
So if we were able to use a function-based index, this is the kind of savings that we would see. We went from 40,959 rows down to a total of 8 rows.
Are you presenting for Oracle?
No.
Oh. I assume this is part of their speech on why you should pay them
You mean why they should pay me money?
money. No, on why you should buy their
Products?
MySQL, their software, MySQL instead of MariaDB.
MySQL is free to download.
Is it?
Yes.
You have to, for Oracle, you have to get their support license. And I think there's a couple cheap ways to do that. But the software itself is free.
Okay, but you get the support license. See, you gotta buy something.
However, though, you fire up a Linux box, MySQL will already be on it. It's part of the Linux kernel already. And not the kernel. It's part of the standard libraries already in there. I'm gonna go put this on the Google Doc. I've been forgetting to put stuff on the Google Doc. I'll clean those up later. Questions, comments? I know you want to leave. That's totally fine. See you next week.
I have a bus.
I'm sorry.
I have a bus to get.
Yes, I understand. Take care. David.
We went over a lot of stuff today.
Yes.
Only 4 of us here. And I'm not basically saying that I'm gonna miss the class, but what about the people that weren't here today? Are they gonna be able to cover this material somewhere else, or how are they gonna be able to?
Another good question. Yes, we did a lot of material today. So, what do you guys want to do about that?
Tutorial. Is there any online tutorial talking about this or review?
I mean, so, based on the homework that was due today, which is like pretty basic, they're just literally one-line statements. I just looked online, like, okay, how do you make an index?
Yes.
Like, okay, that's exactly what you do. This is like one level higher than that.
I'd say more than one, but yes.
You require like multiple lines, and you need to set up the table to have those indexes so that you can use them, especially when you're doing. I assume like if somebody asks a question on the discussion, that one of us will be able to answer the question. Like, that would be the ideal. Do you wait for it to happen?
Okay,
I think
possible.
only Colin was the one that asked me a question. Homework 3 discussion.
Colin did ask some questions. I don't remember if anybody else asked questions or not.
I don't think so, because he was just confused by task number 2. I think you answered that pretty close.
So let me turn the question around a little bit. And you kind of answered part of my question. I'm going to ask it for everybody else and for whoever's ever listening to the video. How do you guys want this to happen for the next week? So you asked about tutorials. I can point you to some tutorials. But what if we keep this conversation going? What if I can keep teaching, if you will, online? I don't have material ready to go. Like, I don't have a nice little paint package to talk about this. It's a little bit, here's what I know kind of thing.
I know in like W3 schools,
I'm sorry?
W3 schools, it's just a,
They have some really good stuff. There won't be anything about tuning queries.
so I won't be.
Yeah, so where is the, you can ask anything you want to ask, except for Google.
Well, you want a website like asking Siri?
Yeah.
You could ask Siri.
I mean,
So here's what I'm thinking though. In the past, I've done blogs. I could create a blog post to kind of review what we've done today, and maybe that'd be helpful, especially for the people that are not here. I would encourage you guys to use discussion groups, but in my opinion, they're a little bit underutilized at this point. But I don't know what questions you have, so it's harder for me to, and I could just water hose and here's everything I know. I don't know how helpful or useful that would be.
Actually, the most helpful thing was going through the process today. We ran into some errors that I didn't expect. Like even the first thing that we went through was the formatting of the date when
Yes.
it's so far chart.
Yes.
I'm sure if I encountered that on my own, I wouldn't know what to do. And I don't think there's a specific online resource that you can reference that would help you with it. It's
I'm
just
sure somebody asked them Stack Exchange
Yeah,
or
just something
Stack
like that.
Overflow.
But it would probably be faster just to ask somebody in this class on the discussion.
Yes, I totally agree.
So, I mean, as long as you're willing to post, like, you being like, if you weren't here today, or if you just had a question, like, that would be great, because I don't think it's gonna be like, the questions are gonna be related to the logic. I think the logic is very straightforward, I think, to a certain extent.
To a certain extent,
To a
yes.
certain extent. Once you get it, you get it. It's gonna be like, oh, I ran into this error. It's like just a long string with a couple sentences of what the error was. Like, oh, I ran into that. This is what.
Yes.
It's just debugging. It's just straight. I think that's what it's gonna be more most of the questions.
I agree. I totally agree.
Especially for Comcast. Where do we save our database? You just click on your Parkland ID, and then you just do the query from there. Yeah, that was
I encourage that. So another thought I have is if this is too much, in the sense of, like, I don't need to go on to the next chapter as it were, next week. We could kind of redo or rehash or improve upon what we covered this week, next week. I want you guys to feel comfortable with the pace that we're going at. Right now, there's only 3 of you here. I imagine the people who are not here feel a lot more lost and a lot more like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know how to deal with that. That's something I have, that's my problem, not your problem. But I want, especially you guys that are here, I want you to feel comfortable with our pace. So even though I have, I listed a schedule of topics I want to cover for the next 12 weeks or so, I don't have to do all of them if you guys don't want to. We can slow down, we can cover something more in depth. It's probably preferable that we do that so you feel more comfortable and more like you can grasp and have extra expertise in those skills.
I mean, I think the biggest test would be, one, if there happens to be a class where we actually ask too many questions and we don't finish, which didn't happen this time, because I think this material is pretty standard, not standard, like straightforward. I don't know, that's just me personally, I don't know about you two, but I think it's okay. Like, I understood most of what was said today. And the second indicator will be kind of like, if the discussion section suddenly explodes after like 1 week, it's like we don't know anything about what's happening. What do I do? Where do I go to reference this? Why isn't this statement working? Why does it say I have no index when I clearly have an index? Like that type of thing, which hasn't happened yet. So
It's happened in previous classes.
I'm sure it will during this class at some point, but when it comes to that, it's just a matter of like communicating.
Yes,
And not just from your end, because you said it was your problem.
and to a degree.
I mean, it's also like the people who haven't come today before.
I know. Yep.
So if they don't ask any questions until like the very last day, and like us 4 aren't on Cobra to answer them, then it's like there's not much we can do for that.
There's a term called SOL. That's pretty appropriate for that.
There, like, so it's not me not using the discussion because I find the discussion is not an instant reply, or you want to use some instant communication tools, except for the email or other things. Because the other class I'm taking is using Discord.
That's fine. Do you have a way to set up a Discord server channel for us? Yes, do you? I've never done it before. I've used Discord, I've never set up anything for anybody else to use.
No.
So if you set one up, we can use it. I can look into it and try it. I don't know if it costs money or not. I don't know if you have to spend money for it or if you can do it free. I don't know if there's a trial period. I don't know. I've only used what other people have set up so far.
You can just create your own group. It's like
For free?
Oh yeah, it's like Zoom but no video.
Okay, we can try it. I'm not opposed to that. But if people aren't using the discussion group right now, I'm thinking not too many people are going to use Discord either.
Because the discussion group is like you got to check regularly to see if there's any updates. But
Basically, it's just a matter of how accessible things are.
Yeah.
Cobra, like, what, you maybe access it only for your classes, if you're lucky, and some classes don't even use it.
Yes.
Like math and physics, they have their own dedicated websites.
I'm just shutting down the
Discord,
meeting here.
almost certain everybody uses to some extent, and also it requires fewer clicks to get the
Yes.
same number of, like the same amount of information across. But again, that's up to the people who have that issue. I would be comfortable just using discussion.
Is that available online? What the just the note? Yeah, the document.
Or what?
yeah, this line is
Is
online.
that just available online?
It's online.
There's a Google Doc. Yeah, this Google Doc is already there.
Yeah.
And then you have a link for it.
Okay, cool. I just wanted to check and make sure before like he closes it.
Right. Well, I'm trying to get the meeting saved.
He actually posted it on the home. That's a note. Well, I don't know if you're gonna do it this time for homework 4, but it was useful.
If I did the what?
You posted the Google Doc that you took notes on today.
Yes.
Last week's class on homework.
Yes.
I don't know if you're gonna do this thing for homework 4, but
Not at all. I mean, all educational.
I mean, here's the thing, you kind of have to be here to understand what the notes say.
Yes, and that's why I don't like the lecture part of it. Because the more I'm doing the talking, the more you kind of have to be here to get the context.
But I mean, it's like this is like a once-a-week class, though,
Like a what class?
right? A once-a-week class at 5
Yes.
on Thursday, right?
I don't know how to do the like the online part. It's not. I'm not told how to do the online part.
I mean, most hybrid classes, like as listed on Department, aren't really like 50-50. It's like heavily in class and like a small online component, or like almost all online. And it's just like they host a like teleconference call once a week or something.
Yes, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
what you're doing is pretty normal, I'd say. It's just a matter of nobody has had questions. So
I want more questions.
I think after this week, there's going to be a lot of questions.
I'm gonna have questions.
I didn't have questions even though I was here, I'm pretty sure. I might have run into some
Weird.
weird bugs.
Yeah.
I don't see where I've misformatted this. It's not giving me a single index or something, which it hasn't already. But we're gonna go with that.
Yeah.
So you just want that. So,
Take care, Ryan.
I'm sure there's no like good tutorials except for the micro courses you suggested on the Kaggle. Something that's like that.
For what specifically, Ryan? There's tons of content online.
I just want to learn some basics about SQL and how to use a
So David mentioned W3 School. They have a lot of stuff for doing SQL.
they
Their Pluralsight has a lot of stuff.
it's there's like 2 different types of sites. It's literally just a database site. They just have a giant list of like 50 topics on the left side of the screen about a specific language. Their main ones are JavaScript, HTML, and CSS. They do have one on SQL, but it's all just text. And like you click on their little module and it.
I got what you mean. So, is there any way I can learn how to use this Hades SQL? Yeah, because this,
I don't know.
you know.
But it's just the interface, though.
Yeah, but you need to learn how to use it.
Experience. I just try and error. That's how I learned how to do it. Just trying things, clicking around, playing with it.
Okay.
The interface itself isn't the hard part for this class, I don't think.
I mean, so I haven't done any hardcore database stuff, but I also learned Heidi pretty quickly because I've used like how many different like coding apps.
Yeah.
And like all their like shortcuts, how everything is set up. Because when I tried PHP admin just now, I was really confused because there's way more buttons, and also it compresses things just automatically. It's a little bit weird, but if it's just like how to learn Heidi, you could just try it out. If you're not as comfortable, you can also like, you could just message us on the discussions like, hey, are you guys going to be in Parkman at some point? You want to like try Heidi as well, or like, what do I do to like add a new index? Where do I find like indexes, like that type of thing? I still need to answer that question for myself because I actually found them easier on php.admin.
Interesting.
Whereas on Heidi, it's like kind of hidden, so I need to like look for it.
Well, for me, it would be to do like a quick like PDF and just do a couple of screenshots and some text to show you like how to find indexes.
Yeah.
How to add a table, create a table. I can do some simple things like that.
I think that's the basic I'm asking about the tutorial. Mini
Okay.
tutorial. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You agree?
See you next week.
You guys take care. Have a good week.
Thanks.